So this is a familiar story we've heard many times. And so I want you to think about what it would be like to be a Jew in the first century, about a year after Jesus' death. And I want you to listen once again to the woman at the well. Let us pray. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. So hello again. Many of you recognize me. My name is Rebecca. Some of you even saw me and heard my story. But your rabbi let me know in the middle of the night that I should come and retell the story of my encounter with Christ. So I'm a Samaritan. I come from the village of Sychar. You may know it as Shechem. Oh. Please don't turn away. I have something to say. Please hear me out. I know I'm a woman, a Samaritan woman at that. And I know you Jews, you see me as someone to be frowned upon, sneered at, even ignored. I can see your scowls. You don't think much of me. To be in the same room as a Samaritan woman, I can see your skin crawl, especially when you think about what I've done, especially when you think about how immoral I am. You know, there was a time when I cared what you thought. There was a time when your scowls, when your disapproval would have shut me up. But not now, because I've learned something really important. I've learned that I'm important. I've learned that I'm valuable. And I have something valuable to tell you, something you will want to hear. You know, I've seen him. I've seen him. I've actually talked to him. He actually spent 2 days in my village. Who, you say? Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth. The one that some claim to be the Messiah, the Christ. I first encountered him at the well, just outside our village. See, our village borders a field that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. The well is dug there, and it is used every single day. Jacob's well is a meeting place. It's a place where the whole people of the village congregate. You might say it's where many special encounters happen. As a young girl, I loved to go to the village, and I loved to go to the well. The well was deep, and drawing water was hard. But in the cool of the night, there was nothing better, because you see, then you heard the latest gossip. Then you saw the visitors, and you watched the newest betrothal. It was often said that at the well, the 2 most important ingredients for men's survival were there: water and women. Actually, it was at that very well that I saw my first husband many years ago. I had come to the well, as was my custom, and I was in the process of drawing water when a stranger from a distant land approached me. He was incredibly handsome. He appeared to be quite well off. And best of all, he seemed to be interested in me. Before I knew it, my parents, my mom especially, saw this man and invited him to our home for dinner. By the end of the night, I was betrothed to him. That was a really long time ago. Another lifetime, in fact. I was really young. I was really innocent. And I was full of hopes and dreams. At that time, I thought all men were good, and I believed in living happily ever after. But life didn't turn out like that. It's nothing like I thought. Man, it's been many years. So as I headed to the well that incredible day, about a year ago, I didn't go very excited. I actually went to the well with dread. For you see, the years since that first encounter with that handsome man hadn't gone well. The relationship was nothing like I thought it would be. And there have been many men since. The years haven't been good. I haven't been good. And you know what? I don't believe in love anymore. I don't believe in life anymore. You know, my innocence is gone. And my failings, my sin, as you would call it, are too numerous to count. And my morals, well, you knew about my morals. So in essence, when I went to the well that day, I felt like scum. I felt like dirt. And you know, I chose to go in the heat of the day at 12 noon. Why did I do that? Because that's when it was quiet. Nobody came to the well then. I hated meeting people because every time I saw someone, they scowled at me. I heard them say "dog" under their breath, and they treated me like garbage. So I approached the well that day, and I was surprised to see a stranger sitting down beside it. He appeared to be tired. As I came nearer, I noticed that the stranger looked quite common, quite average. I wonder where he's from. I wonder who he is. But as I began to draw water, he spoke to me. "Would you give me a drink of water?" As you can imagine, I was taken back because not only was he a man, but I noticed that he was a Jew. "How come you, a Jew, are asking me, a Samaritan woman, for a drink?" Let's face it, Jews and Samaritans don't mix. And you know what? I couldn't understand why this man would bother to talk to me, let alone stop near our village. But then this man said something very curious. "If you knew the generosity of God and who I am, you would be asking me for a drink, and I would give you fresh, living water." At the time, I had no idea what he was talking about, so I stared at him. You know what? He wasn't all that bad looking after all. And he seemed like a nice man. You know what was great? He talked to me as if I was worth something, as if I mattered. And you know what? It's been a long time, since someone treated me like a human being. I wonder if he's interested in me. I wonder if he could be the man I've been waiting for. "Sir, you don't even have a bucket to draw from, and the well is deep. So how are you going to give me life-giving water? Are you a better man than our ancestor Jacob, who dug this well and drank from it and passed it down to us?" Then the man said, "Everyone who drinks this water will get thirsty again. Anyone who drinks the water I give you will never thirst." As he spoke, I thought, man, it's hot. And I really am thirsty. To never be thirsty again. To never draw water again. Nice idea. But I still didn't understand. What was he offering me? Was this just another line from another man? Then Jesus brought me back into reality. His next words were like a slap in my face. "Go, call your husband and come back." I answered, "I have no husband." He answered, "You are right. You had 5 husbands, but now you are not married to the man you are with." I was completely blown away. How did he know? How did he know? He must not be an ordinary man. How did he really see me? At that moment, I knew he was different. He was able to see me. He was able to really know me. And you know what? It made me feel really uncomfortable. It actually made me feel funny. I was actually a horrible woman. I had been divorced 5 times. Oh yeah, I know you Jews. You figure, yeah, divorce, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, but 5 times, I'm a lost cause. And I began to feel like I had really hit bottom. And at that instant, I was overwhelmed with my past, with my sins, with my failings. I couldn't talk about it any longer. So I changed the subject. "Please tell me, prophet, what is the only place to worship? Is it this mountain, as we say, or is it Jerusalem, as the Jews say?" Then he spoke. "Believe me, woman, the time will come when you Samaritans will worship the Father neither here at this mountain, nor there in Jerusalem. You worship in the dark. The Jews worship in the clear light of day. Salvation, although made available through the Jews, is coming to you as well. By the time it comes, it will not matter where you worship, for it is how you worship that is important. It is for you to come and worship in spirit and truth, to simply come honestly, to simply come humbly before God." As I listened to him that first day, I didn't really understand all that much. Who was this man anyway? I told him I'd wait for the Messiah, the Christ. He would know the whole story. Who were we to try and figure out the heart of God? And then, this man, this one that you Jews call Jesus, told us he was the Messiah, the Christ, the Anointed One. Could he really be the Messiah? Could he really be the one we were waiting for? And at that moment, my heart leapt. Oh, let it be. Let this man be the Messiah. Let this man be the God who sees me. Let this be the man, the God who saves. Just then, I realized we were not alone. This man's disciples had come back, and you could see by the shocked look on their faces that this encounter was not ordinary. I think the disciples wondered why he was talking to the likes of me. And to be honest, if he really was the Messiah, I would find it hard to believe too. Why would the Savior of the world bother to talk to me? As the disciples continued to stare, I sensed the need to leave. But my heart was light, and my head was filled with questions. What was Jesus trying to tell me about water, about worship, about life. At that moment, I was quite confused, but I did know one thing. This Jesus knew me inside out. He knew my past. He knew all my ugly, dark secrets. And he still chose to talk to me. He still chose to give me life-giving water. At that moment, I didn't really understand the offer, but somehow I knew that this offer, like water, would be life-giving, life-saving, and my very being was filled with hope. I quickly left the well and went back to my village. I told the people to come and see this man who knew all that I had done, who knew me inside out. He claimed to be the Messiah. And my people came to see for themselves. Some believed even before seeing because of what I said. Others met Jesus and asked him to stay. And you know what, Jews? Jesus stayed with us. Jesus stayed with us Samaritans for 2 days, and he talked to us as if we meant something. And he made us understand that although salvation was coming through all of you, it was for us too. And you know what? His very presence reminded all of us in our village that we were important. That no matter what you guys thought of us, we were important. But you know what? Jesus' encounter with me spoke volumes to the village. For you see, if you asked anyone in the village about me, they would say that I am worthless, that I have made too many mistakes, that I was unredeemable. So you see, if this Jesus, if this Messiah would speak to me, the most outwardly immoral person, then there was hope for everyone. There was living water for everyone. We came to realize that water was ours for the taking. All we had to do is come. All we had to do is present ourselves as we were. No, I can see your faces. You don't quite understand yet, but that's okay. I didn't understand for a long time either. All I knew was on the day I met Jesus, my life was a mess. It was full of broken promises, broken dreams, and broken relationships. No matter how hard I tried, no matter what I did, it seemed I could not get the love or acceptance I needed. Basically, I was alive physically, but I felt worthless, unlovable, and dead. At the well that day, I met God in the flesh. I met God who really sees me and knows my every thought, my every failing, my every need. I met Jesus, the Messiah, and he cared for me. Jesus offered me water to satisfy my thirst, my needs, my innermost desire. In essence, Jesus offered me life. As Jesus offers you life, choose love, choose acceptance, choose him. I did. And my heart, my spirit, and my will never be the same. Let us pray. Precious Jesus, thank you that you see us, that you know us, that you love us. I want to choose you. I need to choose you. I need this life-giving water. I need hope. I am thirsty.